Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you follow me on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. And if you're looking for my review of this episode of Monday Night Raw, it's already up and available over on patreon.com/SantiZap with footage so you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about frame by frame. Over there, we upload so much more extra content like the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier, and so much more extra content that never gets uploaded here to YouTube because of copyright issues with the YouTube algorithm. So go to Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, as well as a link in the pinned comment for you. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am incredibly confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's read your stupid shit. The pull-apart brawl this far out from WrestleMania has me cautious on how long they can keep the Jey versus Gunther feud hot. Time will tell, but hopefully they don't blow their load early and limp into Las Vegas. Here's the thing about blowing your load, and I know a thing or two about this, is that you can't really blow your load if you don't have a load to blow. What I'm saying is that this feud actually isn't hot to begin with. They have to try and make this feud hot. So your concern about them not being able to keep the feud hot doesn't really apply when the feud isn't hot to begin with. And they have a long time to make this feud hot, and they have to try everything and anything to get you and the rest of the world excited at the prospect of Jey Uso versus Gunther. So them doing this stuff this early on, I don't think is blowing their load. I think is just trying to create momentum to get you excited for this feud. And I feel like this is the reason why they announced this match so early on, to give themselves as much time as possible, as much runway as possible to get you to back this feud. And let's not forget that prior to the brawl, there was an amazing promo from Gunther, one of the best promos of his career in my opinion. And in the backstage area, there was a great emotional interview with Jey Uso talking about how so many people didn't believe that he actually has the ability to defeat Gunther at WrestleMania. So as somebody that was cautious and a bit concerned about getting excited for this feud, I feel like WWE really took a strong step forward with what they did on Monday Night Raw with these two. So I don't think that you need to be concerned about this feud limping into WrestleMania because the feud was limping off the back of the Royal Rumble, and I feel like they're actually healing it so that it gets some speed and momentum going into WrestleMania. That's enough about blowing your load. Let's move on. WWE needs to let Lillian know the pronunciation of wrestlers beforehand. Yeah, they do. Like, to be fair to Lillian, she's probably never had to say Roxanne Perez because Roxanne Perez hasn't had a match on Monday Night Raw when Lillian Garcia was the announcer. So yeah, somebody probably should tell her how to pronounce this stuff because this is stuff that was also happening when Lillian Garcia rejoined the Monday Night Raw roster as the lead ring announcer when she took over for Samantha Irvin. So yes, clearly we need somebody to tell her how to pronounce these names because her name is not Roseanne Perez, it is Roxanne. The unsanctioned match is a perfect way to end this forever feud between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Plus, it's in Toronto, so we know it'll be insane. Plus, with it being unsanctioned, it leaves room for the special return of Randy Orton to set up for Kevin's match for WrestleMania. A lot of people I'm seeing online are kind of bummed that this isn't happening at WrestleMania because Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, unsanctioned match, maybe the most brutal match that they're gonna have of their main roster career, not happening at WrestleMania? What? Here's the thing, this is their WrestleMania. This is two Canadian fellas born and raised who went through the Canadian system of independence, then into the American independence, then into Ring of Honor, then into NXT, then the main roster, then the main event of WrestleMania. And this is in Toronto, the biggest city in Canada, in the most famous sporting building in Canada, the Sky Dome, the Rogers Center, the same place that WrestleMania 18 took place, the same place that we got Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, the same place that we got Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. This is an iconic building. This is an iconic feud. This is an iconic just concoction of things, Canadians, everything. This is their WrestleMania in my opinion. We've already seen Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at a WrestleMania before. They don't need to check off that list. This is the final little bucket list of their insanely intertwined career that they've had together to get to maybe even main event. Who knows? Maybe they get to close the show in Canada's most famous sporting arena, the Sky Dome. But yeah, the return of Randy Orton is like all but guaranteed here, right? I think we all are kind of assuming Randy Orton in this match. But then again, I was expecting Randy Orton at the ladder match, and we didn't get that. So who the hell knows at this point? Jey versus Gunther should main event night one. It has the best story going into WrestleMania, and the crowd is invested in the story. Wow. So Jey Uso versus Gunther has the best story going into WrestleMania. Let's look at all the other matches that we have for WrestleMania. Okay, Jey versus Gunther. Okay, I guess Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton, and that's it. Of course, it's got the best story going, because it's literally the only story going right now. Bragging about Jey Uso and Gunther being the best story out of all the matches going into WrestleMania is like bragging about being the principal of a homeschool. There's not really much to go off of, is there? I promise you that there will be so many feuds that develop after Elimination Chamber that will dwarf Jey Uso versus Gunther. As of right now, I don't see this main eventing night one. But they've got a long time to win me over, and they took a great step on this episode of Monday Night Raw, but I'm still not convinced. Tonight, Jey Uso versus Gunther took a huge step forward in the right direction, making Jey the underdog works. Gunther having one of the best promos of his career tonight, and Jey was spitting fire backstage. I can't wait for more. So like I said, they took a giant step forward. I'm definitely significantly more excited in this match and in this feud. I feel like there was a missed opportunity, however, and this is nitpicking, just to clarify. When we had Gunther cutting that amazing promo from the crowd, when he came over and started talking to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, he asked them point blank, do you genuinely believe that Jey Uso could defeat me? I really wish that Pat McAfee didn't make that into a funny moment, didn't take the piss out of it by saying, yeah, you know, with a little bit of yeet here, with a little bit of yeet there, yeah, I think Jey Uso could beat you. Honestly, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole should have both said, no, we don't think that Jey Uso is able to defeat you, because those are the two biggest like in-ring representation of Jey Uso fandom, with them yeeting into the microphone for all of us to hear. Those are the biggest Jey Uso fans on the roster, and for them to say that they don't believe that Jey Uso could beat Gunther, that would cut deep. That would hurt. That would be a gut punch. And then the Jey Uso promo saying that nobody believes in him, in his ability to defeat Gunther, would have been even better. That's how I would have changed this, but overall, again, I agree. Big step forward. Life, death, taxes, and Finn Balor losing to Seth Rollins when it matters. It will always happen. Man, like, I don't know how WWE does this. They are the masters at making me believe in a split moment of emotion that Finn Balor is actually going to win, because I went into this match saying there's absolutely no way in hell that bum-ass, jobber-ass Finn Balor was gonna beat Seth frickin' Rollins. And then there was a moment in the match that they, once again, WWE worked our freaking magic on me and made me believe that Finn Balor was going to win and got me behind Finn Balor, only to once again rip out my goddamn heart. Finn Balor is so damn good, but at this point, like, what's the play? What do you want to do with this guy long term? Is his role just to make other superstars look good? If that's the case, okay, so be it. But I still feel like that's such a waste of talent when it comes to somebody like Finn Balor, who is incredibly good. This is a different type of buried, because obviously he's still getting main event matches. He's still in main event programs, but it does feel like Finn Balor has no value outside of making others look good. At the very least, that's the perception that I have based on what WWE shows me on TV on a weekly basis. There's a reason why everybody calls him Finn Balor. It's a shame, man. It really is. He's too damn good. I wish they would book him better to do more intriguing, interesting things. This guy has just never been able to recover since losing to 50-year-old Adam Copeland Edge at WrestleMania 39. An Edge that left the company literally like 3 months later. He should have never lost that match. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we will recover what is left of poor Finn Balor. Quote, Roxanne is going to the main roster is so slow. I'm about to fall asleep before she fully transitions. Brother, I think you're going to be asleep for a while. I don't think she's going to fully transition for a while. I think that they're going to do the Braun Breaker thing where he was 1 foot in the main roster, 1 foot in NXT, and then after Stand and Deliver, they made the full move for Braun Breaker to be a full-fledged member of the main roster. I have a feeling that that's going to be the case, considering the women of NXT have been like the big talking point of the world of professional wrestling with how stacked that division is, that I can't see one of those cornerstones that made the women's division what it is today in NXT not being part of NXT Stand and Deliver, an NXT Stand and Deliver that I think think is going to be main evented by women. It's great to see Dakota Kai getting her chance, and I hope that she doesn't get injured because I've always really liked her character. I really like Dakota Kai. I genuinely do. I think that she's great in ring. There is something about her that just makes me want to root for her, but then she gets injured seemingly every other week. So I'm with you. Fingers crossed that we can actually get a long, healthy run here from Dakota Kai. I wouldn't mind her being Intercontinental Champion. I wouldn't mind her like turning full-fledged heel, because like if you watch NXT Black and Gold, and again, I hate saying that because it makes me sound like such an old person. Back in Black and Gold. Bro, like a proper heel singles run Dakota Kai is vicious. That's what I want to see at some point. And I do feel like the foundation is there with her feuding with another babyface in Lyra Valkyria. If we can get that turn, in a healthy Dakota Kai, it could be something special for the mid-card. Sami Zayn deserves a better and more anticipating match at WrestleMania than the rumored and very possible match against Karrion Kross. Yeah, but like when I look at all the other pieces that are falling into place, like where do you put Sami Zayn? Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are likely going to be busy with one another. The Bloodline has their own splintered storylines going on. Can't really bring in Sami Uso into that. So I think the next best thing is just to find somebody that could use that Sami Zayn rub at WrestleMania and help elevate them. And I feel like the one person that earned that rub is Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross doesn't get a lot of TV time, but the little TV time that he gets, he maximizes and has been really intriguing, at the very least from my end and my perspective, over the last several weeks. I actually think that the release of the rest of the members of Final Testament is going to be a little bit of a blessing in disguise for Karrion Kross's career. With the fact that we're getting an unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, it only seems fitting to have a certain Viper return during the match and get his revenge. Kevin Owens hit him with a pile driver. It only seems fitting having Randy hit him with a punt kick in return. This is the play, right? Like we already talked about how like Randy Orton should be returning at this match, but I don't think it's like a God-given conclusion that that's for sure going to happen, considering we thought that to be the case at the Royal Rumble. But if he does come back, I love what you're setting up here, bro. The punt is the way to go. The punt is the other move that's like considered the Exodia of like dangerous moves in the world of professional wrestling. That's right, little Yu-Gi-Oh reference for you nerds. I see you. Exodia, obliterate. I want to see the punt come back too, man. I think that Chad Gable could be learning how to beat down luchadors from Kurt Angle. It makes sense as he had so many great matches and feuds with luchadors, and fans would definitely get behind it. I mean, I would love this. It would make way more sense for this to be Kurt Angle compared to it being Aleister Black, which a lot of people are like saying that it's going to be Aleister Black because of like the dark arts and that's the name of his school. But I think that's just a red herring. I still think Aleister Black is going to come back to the WWE, but I don't think it's going to be in this role. Kurt Angle being the master, the mentor, would be brilliant because yeah, like tons of feuds with the likes of Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. He would be the perfect guy to teach Master Gable how to overcome his fear of luchadors. And if this creates a full-time return of Kurt Angle where he can be the manager of American Made, come on, who wouldn't get behind this? The main event was a great match and displayed that Finn needs to leave the Judgment Day. He is a great worker, but being held down by a bad character. I love his wrestling, but his promos bore me and can't draw me in. He needs to be in the Intercontinental Championship race. Finn plus Braun equals fire. I mean, I don't mind the idea of him going singles. I don't mind the idea of him going after the Intercontinental Championship, but I need a better character, like you mentioned here, like the current iteration of Finn Balor, when he talks, when he cuts promos, when he's having backstage segments. I'm not bought in, like in any way, shape, or form. What I really believe that we need to have is, one, the utter destruction of the Judgment Day. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, considering they're already talking about the fact that they're going to bring in a new member, most likely. But let's talk about a world where Finn Balor does go off on his own. I need the Finn Balor that returned to NXT during the pandemic. That's the Finn Balor that actually feels dangerous, that actually feels like a threat. That's the Finn Balor we've never gotten on the main roster, honestly. Finn Balor is beyond buried at this point, and I'm not even sad anymore. I get emotionally numb every time he's on screen because it's the only way to shield myself from the pain. It's funny because of how dramatic you're being, but like, I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from because yeah, if you're a Finn Balor fan, like you just need to numb the pain. You just need to accept that this is the reality and this is the only way that you're going to be able to make it through your day without a heartache that will make you hate yourself. Finn Balor fans, man, like if you know one in your life, please reach out to that Finn Balor fan and give them a hug. The New Day heel run is getting boring. Ooh, I'm seeing this a lot. Here's the thing. They cut a really great promo on Monday Night Raw. The problem is that it's a promo setting up a feud with Hat Guy, No Hat Guy, and Rey Mysterio look like. No one wants to see this amazing, like, life-changing heel turn get wasted on the LWO. Like, now, like, I want to see the New Day do way more substantial things than feuding with the NPCs of the LWO. Feuding with Rey is one thing, but this thing that they're doing with Dragon Lee, that's not it. I think we had a lot more visions of grandurship when we saw that amazing, like again, just gut-wrenching, life-changing, dynamic shifting heel turn from the New Day, and it just hasn't been properly built upon, let alone paid off. But at least the promos are getting there. They're not just doing the thing where the crowd doesn't let them talk. We're actually like hearing them speak, and when they do speak, it's great. But like, this is just not something that I want to see. Like, LWO versus New Day, I'm out. I'm good. Roxy excelled at Vengeance Day, then rocked it at Monday Night Raw, and then turned it up to tenfold. So excellent to see her hunger. Roxy has been just fantastic. She really has just upped her game in the last 12 months, I would say. She's becoming one of my favorite female wrestlers that the WWE has right now, and I hope that she kind of goes down the route of what they did with Tiffany Stratton over the past 12 months. I hope she has a great showing at the Elimination Chamber after a great showing at the Royal Rumble. I hope that she gets inserted into main event feuds, and I hope that within the first 12 months, we see her as a world champion. I also like the fact that you mentioned Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day was an excellent show. Vengeance Day was maybe better overall from head to toe than the Royal Rumble. A-Town Down Under should have never moved to Monday Night Raw if they were going to be used just for commercial breaks. They should still be doing NXT or even SmackDown. It's a waste of time for them every week, and it serves no purpose for them. It does feel like they moved them to Monday Night Raw a little bit too early, considering the SmackDown tag team division was really cooking, but I feel like they just made the move because they knew that A-Town Down Under was going to be working that program in NXT and wasn't going to be part of the great stuff that's going on in storytelling and matches over on the SmackDown tag team division. I think that you are right. They're being wasted, but now that they're done this story with Alba Fyre on NXT, it is time to actually use them on Monday Night Raw, time to help elevate the tag team division with their presence there. We need to do something with them. Like you said, it can't just be commercial breaks where they're pushing children to be able to cut promos, which, by the way, was hilarious. I seriously hope that we get this in the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Dude, I forgot about the little swing in the Elimination Chamber pod for Alexa Bliss. I mean, I guess I'd be down. Sure, why not? Bring that back. Ivy Nile is so underrated and could be a huge star in the future. I don't know about the last bit about like being a huge star, but we've talked about the rise of Gunther, how good Gunther continues to get every single month. And honestly, Ivy Nile is kind of making those big leaps forward. She is getting better with her promos, and her in-ring work continues to get better and better and better every time I see her have a match. That, my friends, is called the Master Gable effect. Ivy Nile is improving like by leaps and bounds, in my opinion. I think that she's going to be a great asset. I'm going to need Alba Fyre to start getting built up as an upper mid-carder / lower main eventer. She's too good to sit in catering. She is way too good. She is like really, really good in the ring. She's a great single star, but if I'm Alba Fyre, I'm not picking up the phone. Everyone that was kind of in her position just got canned last week. I wouldn't be picking up. The vision is clear. Braun Breaker versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. The vision in my mind and in your mind and in the minds of many is clear, but I'm not certain that that is actually what they're going to do. It's possible that they run this at Elimination Chamber. I hope that's not the case, but if anything, I could see them running this during the European tour of Monday Night Raw, considering how popular AJ Styles is in Europe, as we learned in France. But also, those are big shows, and I wouldn't be surprised if they want to put on a major match on some of those big Monday Night Raws. In, like, for example, in the O2 in London, that'd be huge. But I would prefer for this to be at WrestleMania. To me, this is the best available match for AJ Styles, and this is the best available match for Braun Breaker as well. Not only that, but it would be Braun Breaker's biggest match of his entire career. This is best case scenario, but I'm not convinced that they're actually going to do this at WrestleMania. I just prefer that they do. Not really a hot take, just a funny thought that his shirt made him look like a pie. Jesus Christ, I'm never going to be able to unsee this. This WrestleMania season has been very slow. Lots of uncertainties, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but Triple H needs to turn up the heat a little bit more. I am not nearly half as excited as I was at this point last year, but hopefully a lot can happen. So I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. You're never going to get as excited as last year's build to WrestleMania. That was monumentally good. In the 20 plus years that I've been watching WrestleMania, nothing was as good as that build to WrestleMania. Here's the silver lining though. It's possible that once the smoke clears from WrestleMania 41, then maybe WrestleMania 41 will actually be better than WrestleMania 40. But will it not be better than is the build? WrestleMania 40's build will probably not be top for a really long time. I do believe that part of the reason why this build is a lot less exciting is one, The Rock's not there, and there wasn't this uncertainty with the return of The Rock main event things or anything like that. But it also is the fact that both Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair have already made their decisions on what champion they're going to be facing before the Elimination Chamber, which completely removes many of the chamber participants as like actual dangerous threats. For example, now that Cody Rhodes is the main prize of the Elimination Chamber, no one expects Damian Priest or Logan Paul to actually win. But if Jey hadn't picked yet, then anybody could have won that Elimination Chamber. And the same thing goes for the women. Now that Charlotte is picked, there's only a couple that are like actual viable options that would make sense to go up against Rhea Ripley. So this is going to be a different build to WrestleMania, where last year they really went full throttle immediately after the Royal Rumble with the return of The Rock, the WrestleMania press conference. They were able to start really early. Here, I don't think that we're going to get the good stuff of the build until after Elimination Chamber. Penta is far too good for the mid-card. He should be feuding with talent like Gunther and not Pete Dunne. I think that's the play at some point, but like you got to start somewhere, and at least the matches are good. I don't think the story involving Penta, Pete Dunne, and Ludwig Kaiser is particularly very good. In fact, I don't really even know what they're doing with that storyline or what the point of it is, but it's giving us matches and it's showcasing Penta on a weekly basis. But I do think that somewhere down the line, we're going to see Penta kind of upgrade in terms of the types of opponents that he's going to be going up against. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.